Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We'll cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. My handle is CTABANZ. So I came across this story here. It was just kind of like a last-minute thing from Awful Announcing that was centered on some comments that Skip Bayless made during a sit-down he did with Sage Steele. Now, I was unaware that Sage Steele had a show, had a podcast, but the episode is called The Other Side of Skip Bayless, and they shot this show less than a week ago. And they touched on a bunch of different things, okay? They touched on, his time at ESPN, his relationship with Shannon Sharpe, his love for sports, the GOAT debate, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron. They spoke about a plethora of things. But this particular article was highlighting something that, I was aware of, but I didn't understand how this thing would manifest itself on a day-to-day basis. But essentially what Skip was doing was he was explaining the time when he was working at ESPN on ESPN First Take and working with Stephen A. Smith, who he had a lot of great success with. And he was describing the day-to-day process of doing the show. Like, for example, he said that Stephen A. Smith didn't like the prep. He liked to do it more, and they were talking about how they were trying to teach him how to prep, all of these different things. So he then spoke about how Stephen A. Smith used to kind of, what used to inform a lot of the things that he said on television. And he was basically saying that Stephen A. Smith would check his phone during commercial breaks or whatever to see what people were saying about him on ESPN. And if people were then saying negative things about him, he would then modify his position during the next segment and then try to win that debate based off of the internet reaction from people while the show was going on. And I'm like, this is very interesting because this points to a very big problem that I've noticed taking place in sports media today. So what we want to do is we're going to play what Skip Bayless had to say. I want you guys to listen to it in its entirety, and I'm going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Skip's comments here.
You can't teach chemistry. It's
right.
You just can't. And I was so blessed to have Stephen A. and Shannon. You cannot imagine, because it's hard to find that chemistry and that connection across the table on live TV. It's this because you sat in between it occasionally and you're watching it from a distance, but also you could see it in operation up close where, I prepped hard. Shannon prepped hard. Stephen A. not so much, but prep got in the way for him. And when Jamie Horowitz took over the show and we brought in Stephen A. full time, they would try to prep him, think about this. You need some ammunition. Fight back with a couple of numbers. You don't need to stat him to death because that's boring. But occasionally there's one killer stat that I would usually have that he needed to figure out how to counter with what's the flip of that stat? What do you need to defeat it? And so they were trying to teach Stephen A. to fight fire with fire more than he would, but he just fought fire with gift of gab, and it's just a
volume
blessing and volume, but he's good. He can just talk and sometimes, if in the few times that he would go first, it was hard on him because you would just watch his brain working on live TV where he's just rambling for a while, and then you can see the eureka of, oh, wait, I got my point now. I got a point. And boom, boom, and I'm like, thank you. You finally got there. Now we can go, right? And yet I prepped hard, but I wasn't an actor. So as God is my witness, I couldn't stand to watch myself back. I never watch. I don't know if you did in your early anchor days or I never watched it because I feared if I watched it back that I'd think, I should have rolled my eyes more there, or I should have raised my voice more. And now you're acting. You're actually, it's like you're trying to script it out. And the beauty of it was utterly unscripted. And sometimes we ran the show off the rails, obviously, because you do have to take these breaks. But more with Stephen A. than Shannon, it might go someplace that I certainly couldn't predict, but I was prepared to go anywhere he wants to go. And I would tell him, just let it fly, man. I'll be with you. And the beauty of those two partnerships is you have to trust each other beyond what you might even think, because you can't push each other over the cliff. And as I always said about from the early days of First Take, no punches pulled, but none thrown. You can't get to the point where you get mad and want to throw punches. Sometimes Shannon and I would get mad at each other. Sometimes Stephen A. and I would get mad. And I'd say, boy, you woke up on the wrong side of bed today. Because he would just, but his problem was in the early days of Twitter, and I don't know if he still does it, but he would just, in the breaks, he would just read his phone. I don't know. He just read the responses. And if he read one response that said, you just got your ass kicked, like on live national TV, then we'd come out of break and go into the next one, and he would be in this surly, foul mood. And I'd say, what are you doing? It's not that big a deal. It's okay. Yeah. Let it go. It's okay. I mean, I would say that to him on the air because it would be clear.
It was obvious.
Somebody had pushed his button, and it's always just one guy on Twitter. And I know I was a victim in the first year of Twitter. I would read my mentions, ads, whatever.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you heard what Skip Bayless had to say. Now, let me tell you why this is an issue. The reason that this is an issue is because I can now understand this kind of hot take nature that sports has turned into. This sports has now been turned into like a spectacle. It's no longer about the substance. It's about who can say the craziest thing on TV that will gain the most attention, that will get people to be outraged. For example, Stephen A. Smith recently made headlines after he said that Giannis Antetokounmpo's time in Milwaukee is a failure. And I think on that show, they had Jay Williams on there who called him out to his face. Like, bro, this is insanity. But because Stephen A. Smith and others have become so used to having these kind of hot takes, he actually was trying to defend his point, which is insane. Because if you look at where Giannis started in his career, Giannis started as a guy that was averaging 7 points, 7.6, 7.5 points as a rookie. Yes. He then developed to being in the conversation for the best player of the NBA for the last 8 years, winning multiple, I think, MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, Finals MVPs, winning a championship for the Bucks. And Stephen A. Smith looks at all of that and goes, oh, that's a failure. Why? Because we're in the hot take era. This is the reason why you see a lot of people that go up on ESPN First Take and say crazy things. This is the reason why you can have a guy like Nick Wright go out there and say, hey, man, I'm going to do my top 50 players in the last 50 years in the NBA, and I'm going to rank Michael Jordan number 3. I'm going to rank Kareem Abdul-Jabbar number 2, and I'm going to put LeBron James number. They're doing that because they know the reaction is going to get on social media. Look at what just happened recently with the Bleacher Report list. That list was created to create controversy and have people pissed off. So it's no longer about creating things that make sense, where sports fans can look at it and say, okay, this is a pretty good list. I can understand here. I may not agree with this position or that, but you now say, oh, Kobe Bryant's no longer a top 10 player. And then try to back it up with a straight face, because they're doing this because of the reaction that it will get. People will be talking. Whether it's good or not, it doesn't matter. And Colin Cowherd said it once. He said, there is a lot of money in being wrong. You would think conventional wisdom would tell you, okay, I want to say things that make sense, that are coherent. If I'm talking sports, I want to appeal to people's common sense. But in today's day and age, it's no longer about that. It's all about what can I say to piss people off? Who can I clickbait or rage bait is the best way to describe it. Say things that get people pissed off and they're engaging with you. They're not engaging with you because they agree with you. They're not engaging with you because they like you. They were engaging with you because they disagree with you, and what you're saying is insane. But that's become the new model. And this is what happens when you're solely relying upon what people say on the internet. Now, to be fair, did I used to read the comments a lot in the past? Yes, I did. But it wouldn't inform the content I'm making. It wouldn't. As a matter of fact, sometimes I sit back and say to myself, well, why do so many people like our channel? Why do so many people tune in on a daily basis? People are tuning in 4 million times a month to watch our content. Why is that? And then sometimes I have to sit back. I say, Charles, don't pay too much attention to it. Do you know why? Because if you start trying to overanalyze that, you'll start performing. Instead, just be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself. Don't worry about what this guy said, this guy said that. Be true to who you are. And Skip is saying that this guy would literally read what people are saying on social media. That's the reason why he said Max wasn't connecting with people out there, because of what people were saying on social media. Even though the show was doing fantastically well, it wasn't connecting. So you can have a guy on there like Shannon Sharp who's good at what he does, but if I can go on here and make a spectacle and say crazy stuff like, oh, LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan, if it's getting ratings and people are watching, even though they disagree the vast majority of it, that's good content. When in reality, from a basketball standpoint, it's nonsense. It is total nonsense. Nick Wright went up there. His most viral moment to this day, go search it up on YouTube, his most viewed video was when he came out there in 2016 and said LeBron James passed Michael Jordan. Crazy stuff. But it got him a lot of engagement. A lot of people tuned in. That's how he made his name, off of some foolishness. And this is the problem with this. This is the problem with it. We like, there has to be a limit to this. Nobody's even trying to make sense no more. It's like, what can I say? What's the most ridiculous thing that I can do and say to get people clicking? How can I grift? How can I grift? And that's what people are trying to do. And they don't just do it in sports. They do it in politics as well. People grift all day long. All day long. Grifting. People selling their asses on the internet. Their asses, their races, everything for some moolah. They will say anything. Any asinine, embarrassing thing to make some money these days. And they all know who they are. Selling their families, their race, their heritage, just to be a damn fool because they know it's going to make money. This is where we are in the game. And I just refuse to be a part of that. There's a lot of money out there, bro, but I don't need it. I don't need every dollar of it. I'm going to leave it to the rest of them, man. I'll leave it to the rest of them that are willing to sit up there and twerk it up and holler and scream. Somebody came to my channel, oh, man, you know, why does everything you say about LeBron, if you did more positive stuff about LeBron, then maybe things would be, so you want me to sit up here and lie? Nah, they got a lot of people out there that'll lie to you. I don't need it. I don't care that much. I just don't care. These are my thoughts. We catch you guys on the next show and I'm out, man. Peace.